Hello everyone, welcome back to the next video. In this video we want to discuss about this Windows Subsystem for Linux is now open source, so let's go through it. So today we are excited to announce the open source release of the Windows Subsystem for Linux. This is the result of a multi-year effort to prepare for this and a great closure to the first ever issue raised on the Microsoft WSL repo. That means the code that powers WSL is now available on GitHub at Microsoft/WSL and the open sourced to the community. You can download WSL and build it from source, add new fixes and feature, and participates in WSL's active development. WSL component overview. WSL is made up of a set of distribution components. Some run in Windows and some run inside the WSL2 virtual machine. Here's an overview of WSL's architecture. WSL's code can be broken up into this main areas: command line executable that are entry points to interact with WSL, the WSL.exe, WSL.config.exe, and WSLG.exe. The WSL service that starts with WSL VM starts, distros, mounts, file, access, shares, and more. WSL service.exe, Linux init and daemon processes, binaries that run in Linux to provide WSL functionality, init for startup, GNS for networking, localhost for port forwarding, etc. File sharing Linux files to Windows with WSL's Plan 9 server implementation. Head over to wsl.dev to learn more about each component. This comes as an addition to the already open source WSL component. The following components are still part of the Windows image and are not open source at this time: lxcore.sys, the kernel side driver that powers WSL1, and p9rdr.sys and p9np.dll, which runs the WSL.localhost file system redirection from Windows to Linux. Why open source now? A bit of history. WSL was first announced at build back in 2016 and first shipped with the Windows 10 anniversary update. At that time, WSL was based on the Pico process provider lxcore.sys, which enabled Windows to natively run ELF executables and implement Linux syscalls inside the Windows kernel. This eventually became what we today known as WSL1, which WSL still supports. Over time, it became clear that the best way to provide optimal compatibility with native Linux was to rely on the Linux kernel itself. WSL2 was born and first announced in 2019. As the community behind WSL grew, WSL gained more features such as the GPU support, graphic application support via WSLG, and support for systemd. It eventually became clear to keep up with the growing community and feature request. WSL had to move faster and ship separately from Windows. That's why in 2021 we separated WSL from Windows codebase and moved it to its own codebase. This new WSL first shipped as version 0.47.1 to the Microsoft Store in July 2021. At the same time, only Windows level was supported and the package was marked as preview, only recommended to users that wanted to experience the latest and greatest of WSL. We continued to develop this new WSL package until it was ready for general availability. That happened November of 2022 with WSL 1.0.0, which added support for Windows 10 and was the first stable release of this new WSL. From there, we kept on improving the WSL with the objective of fully transitioning all users to this new WSL package and away from the WSL component that shipped with Windows. Windows level 24H2 was the first window build that moved users from the built-in WSL to the new WSL package. We kept WSL.exe in the Windows image so it can download the latest package on demand to make the transition easy. As we kept on improving WSL, we eventually hit another milestone, WSL 2.0.0. What are the three hardest problems in computer science? Off by one errors and naming things. WSL 2.0.0 introduces major improvements such as mirrored networking, DNS tunneling, session 0 support, proxy support, firewall support, and more. And that's the milestone we are building on today. At the time of writing this article, WSL 2.5.7 is the latest available version out of our 9 pages of GitHub releases since 0.47.1 4 years ago. The community behind WSL, over the years we have been incredibly lucky to have a strong community supporting WSL from day one. We have blessed with people sharing their knowledge and spending countless hours to help track down bugs, finding the best ways to implement new features and improve WSL. WSL could never have been what it is today without its community. Even without access to WSL source code, people have been able to make contributions that led to what WSL is now. This is why we are incredibly excited to open source WSL today. We have seen how much the community has contributed to WSL without access to the source code, and we can't wait to see how WSL will evolve now that the community can make direct code contribution to the project. So are you interested in learning how WSL works? Would you like to see how a specific feature work or make a change? And then you can head over to Microsoft/WSL to learn more. So yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. Bye.